Good morning to all. Welcome to Pimlico Racecourse. I'm Naomi Tucker and very lucky to be joined by the voice of Maryland Racing and Dave Rodman. Dave, glad to have you on. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I don't know how lucky we're going to be today with our selections, but we're certainly going to try coming off the bench here. But beautiful, beautiful day here at Pimlico. For now, I mean, the rain was supposed to happen around now, but looking outside, we've got some sunny skies, and the rain's going to hold off, I think, till at least 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll get our turf action in, including the Stronach 5.
Yeah, wonderful news that is, because indeed there was rain forecasted, but I guess we're getting luckier. And of course, you'll tell me if it starts to rain outside there, right? During the broadcast, so make sure we keep an eye on it. But glad to have you. A tough card, though. You're right. They're very challenging fields today.
Yeah, some challenging fields, but I feel good about a couple of horses on the program. I'm going to play some percentages here and maybe hope for some rain for the last race. We'll key you in on that as we go on in the program.
Yeah, well, let's get going. But of course, First Bet has got a wonderful offer for you with the Preakness coming up. Every time you play online at Express Bet or First Bet, you have the chance to win a $20,000 bet on Preakness 146 with every single bet you make. So it certainly pays off to bet with First Bet or Express Bet. Definitely a chance you want to take. And of course, the Preakness coming up in nearly a week from now. We're a week and a day away from Preakness 146. And Dave, you must be excited.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that we're going to get this rain out of the way, and the long-term forecast for Preakness Day and Black-Eyed Susan Day looking excellent. So a big week. Things are coming together. The horses will be flowing in here. We'll talk about one of them a little later on in the show. It's going to be one of the first to arrive. And so a big week ahead of us. If you don't have your tickets yet, you know what to do. Preakness.com, still some select seats available.
Absolutely. Get the chance to be a part of this historic event. Once again this year, now we are welcoming fans again. Capped at 10,000, but that is better than last year without fans. Just so happy to have some people back on course again. But today, Friday, means Stronach 5 time. We kick things off right here with our race 8 being leg A. And then leg B is our race 9 here at Pimlico, the Maryland Jockey Club. And then we go to Gulfstream Park for their race 9, leg C. Leg D, we go to the West Coast, race 3 at Santa Anita Park, and finish off strongly like we frequently hope to do at Golden Gate Fields with race 2. So make sure you get your tickets in here, starting in race 8, then race 9. I'll put my selections up on the website in a bit as well. And yeah, let's get going here. Main track, you already described it, Dave, is fast, and we're hoping that the rain is going to stay away.
Yeah, fast and firm on that turf course. So you see that rail there protecting the inner rail. So the rail on the turf is to 20 feet. Yeah, out of 20 feet today on the turf.
Yeah, 20 feet indeed, protecting that beautiful turf grass for all the stakes action that is to come next week. But we are on the turf today, so a couple of intriguing horses in those fields, and we'll get to them in just a second. But we'll get started here with the first race on the card. Of course, the start of the early pick 5 sequence with our customary 12% industry low takeout. It's a 3-year-old and upwards starter for 12.5 or up in the last 3 starts, 6 furlong the distance there. And Dave, you and I landed on the same horse here, the number 2 Inside Wrist for Gary Capuano, taking a drop from that allowance company back to the starter level again. And he showed speed in his last outing, just couldn't sustain against those tougher runners.
Yeah, tougher indeed. The winner of that race, Abuelo Pamsu, was DQ. That was a fast race. They were 111 flat. And that was like a full second faster than 5 other 6 furlong races that same day. Here at Pimlico. So I don't believe that was a fluke. It was right there on the pace, in the hot pace. The race was quick, virtually eased in there, but in for the 16,000. Now, any horse who drops, of course, you're taking that risk, playing especially at a short price. But the form was darkened a little bit. You can see his races back in the form are good enough to win. Comes out of a quick race, and he's run against some tough ones like Beltapos Re, the very quick Ziggy Mon, going back in the form, working on a Dream, Shawnee P, horses like that, Jovis, who was a winner just a few nights ago out of town. So Inside Risk, my top pick, your top pick here from the Gary Capuano barn, looking for their first win of the meet, but they've been winning out of town, so I'm not too worried about that. And Gary places his horses in the right place, and I think they're just dropping him down for a confidence level here and a confidence win.
Yeah, Gary Capuano certainly knows how to place his horses. So I take his lead here and go with inside risk. Charlie Marqueza remains on board and used the number 4 Kingston Pike underneath, hoping to come with a customary closing run. We have seen him do it 3 starts back where he came from off the pace and ran, but they were going fast up front, which helps him out.
Yeah, he's a six-time winner. He's a winner at Pimlico. He needs a good pace in front of him, but I think the pace will be sufficient. We know Day the Music died. It was a 7-5 morning line favorite. Is pretty quick up front, and if Inside Risk goes on to press the issue, I think, and no more talk on the inside. First off of claim there for Kevin Dove. I think the pace will be good enough for him to pick up a share, and if it's quick enough and maybe Inside Risk doesn't show up, he's certainly got a chance to win here.
Yeah, you're always looking for those closes if the speed doesn't hold up. I use Day the Music Died, ran a big race in the Not for Love Stakes against heavyweight Mid-Atlantic Circuit sprinters. Lacked punch in the final quarter in his last outing. Kind of needs to return to that sharp race form, but I want to be on board if he does here for Marius Ray Jr. and Grant Whitaker here. As we'll move on to the second race of the day, which is a 6 furlong maiden 10 race. And we do have a video spotlight here on my top selection, your second pick, Scottsdale, who was claimed out of that race now in a John Salzman Jr. barn. But you can see there, he's hard hustled to kind of get to the front. No real time to let up. They're in between horses, and they weren't holding back in those first quarters, that first section of the race.
Yeah, it was a long battle inside as a short comment, and then weakened up to finish 6th. But the opening quarter, like you say, 22-3, that was equal to the opening quarter mile that same afternoon by a horse that we all know because he won yesterday here, a horse named Hydra. So very good opening quarter mile, was used up in that duel, and is probably going to use his speed as his best weapon today off the claim for the Salzman barn with Marquez up.
Yeah, I really like him in this spot. I think if he can get a better trip without perhaps going too sharp early, he might just save some energy for the latter section. But on the rail is Raven Rahi for trainer Brittany Russells. We know that he's got some speed as well. Ends up being stuck 3 wide on his first start. After showing that speed, this time an inside draw, he might be able to navigate himself a better trip. And of course, John Geraldo stays on.
Yeah, he was beaten 15 lengths in his debut run for the Brittany Russell stable and Smith Farm and stable, the gelding by Mosler. But you have to realize the winner of that race, Sheriff Chip, accounted for 14 of the 15 lengths there. He absolutely freaked that day in the mud. His previous buyer figures with 34 and 23, and he pops up with a good number. We'll see him running later today if you want to check that out. We'll talk about him. He's back in again today. But he's got that race under his belt. I think he'll sit right off of Scottsdale or, you know, prominent throughout there. Not raining. It's a Mosler, but it's not muddy yet. We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Let's hope that the skies remain clear here. Quick question. Don't throw stones. Kelly Dieter, both of us use him underneath. Blinkers go on, makes his 3-year-old debut and is now a first-time gelding. I mean, that first race wasn't very encouraging. Are we treating him like a first-time starter? Just put a line through that race.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Treat him like a first-time starter, right? He was 31-1, but there are a lot of changes here. First-time gelding, Lasix today, blinkers going on. He's by Bustin' Stones, a lot of those offspring, very good early speed. We've seen them flaunt at early speed. So he's a firster, dropping in, so to speak, off of one race, but really consider him a first-timer in here. Don't throw stones.
Yeah, we'll see how he will fare as we'll move on to the third race on the card. 6 furlong the distance, fillies and mare 3-year-old and upwards, which have never won 3 races or 3-year-olds. And we do have a video spotlight here as well on Cougar Vision and Been Indiscreet, the last race for Cougar Vision, a bit further back for Being Indiscreet. Looking at Cougar Vision's race, she rallied from off the pace to get that perfect even setup, because you can see she's still further back than Being Indiscreet, who already made her move there, really trying to rally up. I'm going with Being Indiscreet today, thinking that she'll be a bit more forwardly paced. but Cougar Vision, look at her splitting horses there and cutting through and being very, very game on the rail.
That was really kind of a perfect trip. I thought that she had the perfect setup in the race. Pace was quick early there, good half mile, good opening quarter mile. You saw the duel develop earlier in the video there, and then gets that good trip, getting through inside the win under Yomar Ortiz. So, yeah, she's going to have to be, I think, you're right, be a little bit closer to the pace today. And for that reason, I decided to go against this particular horse today. Went to the 3 in here, Congress Hall, getting Katie Davis aboard. And he's one of the horses, she's one of the horses coming out of a common race there, won by Olive's Bumpa, a winner yesterday.
Yeah, and Congress Hall has shown that she can be fourthly placed as well, which is beneficial here at Pimlico, especially over the sprinting distances. You want to be within a length or two at least to make your mark here when arriving at the top of the stretch. As we'll move forward to race number 4, which means the start of the Rainbow Pick 6. And we have a carryover, a little treat for everyone here at the track and betting from home. $14,000, 941 in the pot to get you going. Should grow a little further today, and I created a ticket. Now, tough sequence. I could not find a single here that I was confident enough in. $64.80, but I feel like that deep pool, like deep money pool, will justify your investment here. I go 3 deep in race 4. I use the 5, the 6, and the 7. The 5 meet my price play here. Mile on the turf. Sheldon Russell, Malice in the pad, Mikey Gorham. Plenty of speed for her to run into, and has shown the right numbers on the turf in the past. Has some recency of form, but she's a better turf mare, I think. And then in race 5, I use the 1, the 5, and the 6. The 5 Martini Lane is my top selection there. Out and out speed gelding. He'll have to come with a good finish, though. He tends to enjoy himself up front and then lack a little bit late. But I feel if he's ridden more patiently by Grant Whitaker today, he might be able to steal it from the front. But I also use speeching and teaching underneath. Claudio Gonzalez, very, very strong. Race 6, I go 2 deep here. Toyed with the thought of using Kiss the Girls as a single, but I also go with the number 7 there, Vix Coolcat, who is going to make her debut at that 2 other than level, but has shown so much speed. Comes in here fresh from Mark Reed. Sheldon Russell aboard. She'll really relish this track. Race 7, I use the 1 and the 4. Gracetown on the rail for Jeremiah O'Dwyer. Comes out of a tough New York race, 2 months off, and comes in here a fresh horse. And then in race 8, I use the 1, the 5, and the 8. In race 9, the 1, the 3, and the 8. As you can see, those Stronach 5 races are very, very tough to begin with. So certainly an intriguing Seagoods to get going with, but use my tips. They're also on Pimlico.com. So are Tim Tulloch's selection, $64.80. Perhaps not as tight as I normally like to do, but this is a day I feel like we can certainly get a couple of bigger priced winners in. Let's get going here with the fillies claiming 16, going that 2-turn mile on the turf here. Dave, you go towards the outside. You use the number 8 here, Mikey's Jewel, Del Capuano, making her turf debut. Is by not this time a sire that, of course, has really done well for himself in the last 2 years or so. And Del Capuano, well, you always want to kind of look where he places his horses because they always have winning chances.
First off, the claim for Del Capuano, who since we moved to Pimlico was trying to get a little bit of traction. Did get a winner here the other day at Pimlico. But it's first off the claim, going long. 23% winners first off the claim, fillies going long the last 5 years for trainer Del Capuano. That's a huge, huge number there in a positive ROI. Over the last 5 years overall, solid win percentage. When you click it down to fillies going long and kind of narrow that, this filly's always shown a little bit of talent here and there. And the interesting thing about this Not This Time filly, Naomi, is that when Ham Smith had her, they tried to get her on the turf right away. So they maybe had an inkling that she'd like the grass here. Maybe a timely claim from Mikey's Jewel Del Cap Jorge Ruiz.
I like your angle there. I kind of overlooked her a little bit, but wouldn't surprise me if the number 8 Mikey's Jewel jumps up at hopefully a decent price. 12 to 1 morning line. Not too bad at all in a wide open turf affair. The number 10 Rockstar Girl I use underneath as well. Quick 6-day turnaround for Timothy Salzman, but if you look back through her form, when we saw her in July on the turf, she ran a very, very high figure in comparison to some of her latter races on the dirt, trying to get her back going again.
Given the training situation of Laurel, I think maybe the 6-day turnaround, that last race was more like a workout. She was going sprinting short in that race, trying the turf for the first time, beaten favorite in that race by a very quick Ran Char. So really kind of a 6-day turnaround is a good thing here, I believe, for Rockstar Girl. She's been consistent, kind of a mare that I've followed, and well, I played her a few times, as you can see, in 2020, and obviously I've torn up a lot of tickets. She was over in 2020, but she's had some troubled trips, and maybe this is the key here. Quick turnaround, trying the grass. She's placed on the grass for Tim Salzman.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple of fillies in here who are looking to regain some of their prior form. We're now getting back to the turf course. One of them being the number 5 Malice in the Palace, also 12 to 1. Sheldon Russell aboard. Mikey Gorham trains. This is a filly that when she's on the grass, she loves coming with a strong late close, which I think Pimlico can allow her to do here with that fresh turf course that she's going to run on. She's better on the turf. I'm looking back at that maiden 25 race at Delaware where she ran 4th, only beaten by a length there when closing into a bit of a soft pace. So I'm hoping for her to return and do something at a price here with plenty of speed setting it up. As we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with race number 5.
And they're off. She's second in the 2-pap. Ground on her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Naomi Tucker, Dave Rotman. We're on race number 5, which means the start of the late pick 5 sequence. No carryover today, but you get that 12% industry low takeout and a fun sequence with plenty of opportunities to play in as we'll get going with the 5th race, mile and 16 on the main track, claiming 10,000, not winners of 2 lifetime here. And we'll go to our video spotlight, which is of the speedy Martini Lane, who loves getting to the front himself, but he'll have to start finishing perhaps a touch better though, because tends to get colored late.
The record says it all. 25 starts, 5 seconds, 6 thirds. Very honest gelding. He's got decent numbers. He certainly fits in the spot. It's first off the claim from Mario Saray Jr. Always a sharp angle with a positive return on investment. But if you just go by his paper form, say, for instance, the race 2 back, not the one you're looking at, he was there on a lead in 49-3, pressed by a 40-1 shot at 4-5. And just kind of gave it up and was beaten by the horse that you like a bit and I like quite a bit in here, and that is Aladdin Sane on the inside, number 1, second time in the Cal Lynch barn. So those look like the 2 horses to me, the old 1551. I think Aladdin Sane will be a little bit better playable price in the spot.
Yeah, possibly, and come with a nice, sharp, late challenge to hopefully color Martini Lane. But you know me, I like going with my speed horses. I feel like Pimlico helps them carrying a little bit, especially even if we have some moisture in the ground later today, of course, depending on the track conditions. And perhaps Martini Lane today will be able to get the job done. Indeed, you're right. He hasn't done it in a while, so hopefully today is the day here. But you use the number 2 underneath as well, which is Sheriff Chip. We mentioned him earlier on the card here, is now stepping up too against winners for the first time for trainer Amanda Rawlings.
Yep, son of Oxbow won the 2013 Preakness. Now, was it the mud that moved him up? We alluded to it earlier in the show. Look at the numbers, 34-23 on fast tracks. I know he ran okay second in the debut, but will only a 34 buyer figure in a maiden 10. ran, and then got a lot of play that day in the pick threes and all the gimmicks like a good thing, and won like a good thing. So was it the mud that moved him up, or maybe the time away, and maybe a couple of changes that made him click there? He's stretching back out from 6 now to the 2-turn distance. Should be a forward factor, but I think Aladdin Sane will sit right off him. Another thing I like about Aladdin Sane, going back to that horse, is when he did beat Martini Lane last out, and Big Grinny, winner of that race on April 8th, he continued with a real strong gallop out. And if you're a gallop out person, that's the horse to play. Sheriff Chip, though, the big question, was it the mud or not?
I love your gallop out note there, because Dave, you must be able to see how everyone is finishing up into that home term once they've passed the wire.
Yeah, actually it's easier here at Pimlico. We had one yesterday at first-time starter. I forget the name of the horse, 15 in the second race, and rarely do I say something in the call about it. But there's a horse for you to watch. It was a debut runner, broke a little bit green, and came out of nowhere in a real strong gallop out. Good finish too. But yeah, it's very easy at Pimlico with being high up here. I actually saw that in the replay last night and looking at the race. That was a good effort.
Yeah, you mean Shackled in the second race? Were you talking about him? That wasn't a first-time starter, or are we looking at the third race? No, wouldn't have been the third race.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Shackled then. In the second
in
race?
the deshackled race, yeah.
Oh, the
15.
first.
Yeah,
The number
fourth.
15. Oh, okay. I was trying to quickly make sure to look it up for you. That was Tall Ship for Elizabeth Merriman.
That's right.
Haven Toledo Road.
Yeah.
Good to make a note of that. I like that, Dave. We should have you on more often telling us who's galloping out where.
My stable males used to win at about 26%. The last year they're about 5. So I don't know how much credibility, but still put them down, still watch.
Potato, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the 6th race here. Fillies and Mares 3-year-old and upward, going a sprinting distance of 6 furlong. Optional claimer 2 other than, and we'll go and have a look at another replay here. The number 5, Kiss the Girl, in her last ever winning the Conniver, showed a lot of class there, being widest of all, and you can see her closing there in the center of the track.
Yeah, a stakes winner coming here to this allowance optional claiming race, going to get a lot of play in here. Very solid filly from the Trombetta barn. Have nothing to knock against this race. The question is, can she repeat it over this track first time out, going shorter? That's the question.
And of course, we know that there are 2 speed horses that have scratched, as of course they ran yesterday. Gifted Heart and Paisley Singing. Gifted Heart running second behind Hydra, and Paisley Singing, I do believe, 4th down the field there. So they're not in here. So perhaps that's why you're liking Vic's Cool Cat being the speed here.
I liked it before the scratches. I knew they figured that. Yeah, but yeah, knowing those horses may come out. But yeah, I think she's the speed of any speed in this spot. Really off since February. But there's a couple of works out of town at Delaware from Mark Reed. First time at Pimlico, but she was in good form over the winter at Laurel. Has trained over this track too. So don't, there's another positive. I actually had the bullet work back in March over the Pimlico track. So I'm not going to let that. The question is the shortening up with the Trombetta horse at Pimlico. She's worked over it, but I'm going to take a shot here with maybe Speed of Speed and Vic's Cool Cat trying to dazzle him with her hoof work today.
Yeah, I use Trunk of Money underneath. Also going to be a pace present, but very much like Vic's Cool Cat. I think she's going to absolutely relish the Pimlico track, as you hinted at. As we'll move on to the 7th race here, mile and a 16. Another Fillies and Mares 3-year-old and upward, 2 other than race here. And I go with the number 1, Gracetown, and so do you. Coming out of a tough New York race for trainer Jerry O'Dwyer. She ran terrifically. That really tried her hard out. That Maiden Beauty and is a solid allowance performer. I was looking back at her career performances. She's based at Belmont. She tends to run these higher 70, lower 80 buyers. So a good kind of way to compare this 5-year-old mare against, and now comes in here, and I feel like this is the right spot.
Well, yeah, getting that inside draw, a trainer who's really in fire here. Last 30 days, Jeremiah O'Dwyer has been quietly hot here, not getting a lot of publicity. 4 out of 12 the last 30 days for the barn. They've been hot here. They've been hot out of town. She's got natural early speed. I think they'll use it from the inside gate. The Into Mischief mare, Gracetown, probably I think one of my better plays of the day on the card.
Yeah, you use Mia Bellarosa underneath her. She was very wide at Parks last time out, backed up. Either she's going to stalk or get to the lead, but I think she can come back swinging in this spot. If you look back at some of her performances before that, she would be favored in here if it wasn't for that last race.
Yeah, she was in good form against starter company. Don't know what happened to her last time out at Parks. Was it a good track? Didn't like it. No rally, 3 wide is a short comment. So there's the question. Was it a little bit of an off track? Maybe finally, finally reaching that peak, and will she be able to replicate some of her form back from February at Parks against starters? But I think she's going to be right there if she's sharp enough and regains that form today. But I'll go with the barn that's red hot right now, Jeremiah O'Dwyer, Gracetown.
Yeah, same for me. And then I take a shot with Deku Pad stretching out for the first time here at Pimlico. Jamie Ness, red hot as well. Sprinter route, 36% winner.
Yeah.
She's won over 7 furlongs before, and I think Cruz will just take it patiently with her and hopefully nurture her to maybe get some part of the prize money as well today.
Speaking of hot barns, how about Jamie Ness, right? I mean, he's been super, super hot for a couple of months now. And this mare, I've liked her a lot. Thought she'd run well sprinting with closing and making one run, one kick, and get there. And she's not quite been able to do it against Hydra, Deep Red, the very quick gifted Heart. She's run against who at the time was in form, Fia Desprez. So the question is, will she be able to handle distance? She's by alternation, who won the Pimlico Special. So I think the distance should be no problem with her over this track.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they're trying something different with her after she's run against the right company, as you hinted at here at sprinting distances. So why not try this for a trainer that is hitting phenomenally here at good old Hilltop. Race number 8, mile and 16 on the turf here for fillies. As 3-year-old and upward. Of course, the start of the Stronach 5 sequence, as I hinted at before. We kick things off here at Pimlico. Race 8, and then our nightcap is leg B. We move over to our friends at Gulfstream Park for their race 9, then finish things off on the west coast. Santa Anita Park, Golden Gate Fields, race 3 and race 2 there for this Friday. Stronach 5. Do get involved. Fun sequence to play. Really test your knowledge of all these different circuits. As we'll try to give you a winner or two in those first 2 legs here, Dave and I. Race number 8. Let's have a look at a video spotlight here. The number 2, Danger Zone. We both use her underneath, 6-1 on the line, and we're looking at her efforts at Fairgrounds, where she was away well, close to the leaders, and you can see her there trying to make a run, and it looks like at some point she's starting to get there, but then you have another horse on her outside in Della Frost really giving her a scare, but she really breaks a little bit. I liked the tenacity that she showed.
Yeah, very good fighting effort there. Good video, Naomi pick up there with the Danger Zone. Again, that Della Frost horse she beat was 24-1, came back and ran okay next time out, but was a beaten favorite. So there's a little question mark about Danger Zone. But that Fairgrounds course gives them, I think, a leg up, really. This tall grass, you see the fractions, half and 49. I mean, that's kind of normal for Fairgrounds. It's not like they were crawling there. So a little bit deeper kind of course there. I think she's set up if she can transfer the form here to Pimlico.
A filly making her, mare, excuse me, 5-year-old mare making her turf debut is Judy Blue Eyes. JD Acosta, once again aboard for trainer Claudio Gonzalez, is most likely going to show a fair bit of speed. I didn't get to her, but she's your top selection.
Well, I was kind of thinking maybe the race would come off the grass and originally handicapping, pick the horse on top, and then the more I looked at it, was going to kind of edge to another horse. But you look at this mare's turf form. She's got okay turf form, 6 starts, a win, 2 seconds, and a third. It doesn't really show in her recent past performances. A majority of her turf starts were in a previous barn a long time ago, earlier in her career, going 5 furlongs on the turf, and she byred up in the 70s during those turf sprints. So Danger Zone's been running upper 60s. I think Judy Blue Eyes is there, as consistent as she is, and I'm going to give her a shot here in the grass.
Yeah, apologies, said turf debut, but of course she had run on the turf before, had my wires crossed with some of the other fillies in here. Looking Dynamic is my top selection. I feel like she's just much better routing on the turf than she is on the main track, but has the recent races to give her a slight fitness edge, which we like to see coming in here.
And the horse on the inside, Sweet Talking Girl, Grand Motion, Candy Ride, Filly. I mean, I don't know what to make of her. She's off the layoff since 3. Big effort at 15 to 1, running down Beckon, who was disqualified the race, and Gale. Gale's done to do some good things here. So maybe some freshening, maybe a new filly today. I mean, that was a good effort. Mid-60s buyer, first start on the turf, first time going long on the grass. Actually, first time going long ever, going 2 turns ever, because that dirt at Laurel is the 1-turn mile. Motion might have her cranked up in here. Sweet Talking Girl. I'm going to use her on the ticket as well. So
I did too.
The more I look at the race, the more I'm getting confused, actually. So
you know what? I'm with you here. This is a very tough race to start the Stronach 5 sequence in, and I definitely encourage everyone to take a couple of looks and go deep in this race, because there's a few that certainly can lay their claims to the prize in here. As we'll finish things off with the 9th race on the card. Maiden special weight event. 6 furlong for the 3-year-olds. We saw a nice maiden special weight for the fillies yesterday. Love these races here. And let's have a look at a replay of the number 3 Mosser Safe for Michael Trombetta. That was a month ago at Laurel on a sloppy track there. And you can see that he had to work to come over and ended up being able to join on the turn. But, you know, drawn wide towards the outside here. Plenty of speed on his inside, but broke well enough. Sat about 4 wide. Hung inwards a little bit in the latter stages, though.
Yeah, in the perfect weather world, maybe we'll get that rain for the final race of the day. Mosler's in the mud. That's the mantra, really.
Yep.
A tremendous, tremendous record for the offspring of Mosler in the mud. And I thought I had marked it down on my paper, but I didn't. But I can pull it up quickly, I think. On the wet track, Mosler's 8 for 23 in the winner's circle on the wet. So I know the track's fast. We're expecting some rain later. Will it happen by the 9th? Rain or no rain? I think this guy's going to be a tough customer today. Mosler Safe.
How about Jidora? Jidra is, I think, do you believe you said it like that? Jidra in the call?
Gidra. It's
Gidra.
The Japanese 3-headed monster for you Japanese sci-fi fans.
I did not know that. Jidra. Very, very strong behind a pace duel last time out. The leader ran away, but he was very professional in his chase on a sloppy ground. I really was flip-flopping between Jidra and Mosler Safe in this event.
Yeah, the Japanese 3-headed monster created from an atomic fireball from outer space, by the way.
How do you know this?
I don't know. I watch too much Turner Classic movies. Anyway, I thought this horse ran super strong, given the pedigree, Naomi, of Jidra. Dam's Delta Weekend, who basically had a turf pedigree, and a 10 to 1 debuting for Hugh McMahon on a sloppy track. Chased John the Bear all the way around the track in a good effort. John the Bear was kind of toward the middle of the track, maybe on a better path. Jidra chased. Took a little dive over to the inside in late stretch.
Yeah.
Was that a better part of the track or not? I don't know. But he just kept an even pace. And second time out for you, McMahon, is a strong stat. So I'm going to go with Jidra.
Plus, we also have a first-timer jumping from the rail. Van Hoover, Ben Perkins, Sheldon Russell. A couple of bullet works coming into this. So you want to take a look at that 3-year-old called by Australian 2-year-old champion turf sprinter Vancouver as well in the nightcap, as we'll get going with lightning round.
Wow. Out of blue skies comes the lightning.
I know.
Yeah.
Very strong start here. Let's hope we can make it happen. As I said before, the Stronach 5 returns today. Weren't able to run it last weekend as we had to cancel Pimlico due to the high wind velocity. But today we're back at it again in race 8. Let's start talking a little bit about the big race coming up, though. We know that Midnight Bourbon has been confirmed by Steve Asmussen to be joining us for Preakness 146. Finished sixth in the Kentucky Derby, kind of bumped a little bit at the start and then was taken back. You can see him here in his victory in the Lecombe. That was the last time he saw the winner's circle, but has been doing well since.
Sixth in the Derby, bit of a trouble trip. You know, Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen, he knows how to win the Preakness, right?
Oh, he sure does. He sure does.
Rachel Alexandra.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I mean, you got to tell me, you were there.
Excited to have this horse come to town to take on Medina Spirit and the others, and we'll see. Upset chance.
Absolutely. And let's talk about a Japanese challenger. I did hear that France Go the Ina is supposedly arriving tomorrow. Very much looking forward to seeing this chestnut again. And we did hear that Joel Rosario takes the ride once again here. France Go the Ina didn't get away as quickly in the UAE Derby, where you can see Rebels Romance there for Godolphin taking home the spoils. But Francisco de Ina was the Japanese hope to go to the Saudi Derby, had a little bit of a setback, then tried his hand at the UAE Derby. And I was told that he was a little bit nervous in the gates, and there were no gate boys in Dubai. They have one here, of course, so hopefully a bit more settled and gets away quicker, and hence won't be encountering as much trouble as he did in the UAE Derby. So definitely wish him good luck here.
He had a trouble trip there, but look back at, I believe it was his maiden win. He's won going long, and he's got a little more natural early speed perhaps than you think. So we'll see how he settles in. He's had a long journey, L.A. with the quarantine, and then New Jersey, and then coming to Baltimore tomorrow. But once he gets here to Pimlico tomorrow evening, he'll have a few days to settle down. We'll get a good sense of him on the racetrack, I think, once he hits the Pimlico surface here at Hilltop.
We will certainly keep everyone abreast when it comes to how all the Preakness contenders this year will be training and getting over the Pimlico main track. As we'll get going with the next topic. Dave, your favorite call. I asked you what your favorite Preakness call was, and you had to think about it, but you did pick one.
Yeah, last
Swiss
year,
Skydiver,
Swiss Skydiver,
authentic, the Derby winner alongside. They're set for a battle in Baltimore. And on the inside, Swiss Skydiver. On the outside, authentic. Johnny B going left-handed. Swiss Skydiver up for a long left to go. Swiss Skydiver looking to make Preakness history. Another filly bounding toward the 16th pole. And here's authentic on the outside. Answering the call head and head and nose. Swiss Skydiver and Robbie Alvarado. They've done it from authentic.
Reminded me a little bit of before my time, Sunday Silence, Easy Goer, and Trevor and Denman in 1989 with one of the best race calls of all time there in that battle. They were head and head and nose. And as they're coming out of the line, I kept thinking Trevor Denman. I asked him one time, I said, how did you call that photo? I mean, in reality, looking back on it, it wasn't that close. And he goes, if you're asking whether I guessed, the answer is no. So, yeah, that was really kind of reminiscent of that kind of a battle down the stretch. I mean, there have so many great Preakness runs since then and in history, but it's fresh. It's in my mind there.
Absolutely. And you called it right as well on the wire.
Yeah, it was. But again, it was a good head. Maybe not as close as Sunny Silence, Easy Goer, but a reminiscent kind of battle of really two good horses laying it all on the line.
It was a terrific call. Goosebumps listening to it, and everyone that I've spoken with about it seconds my opinion. As we'll finish things off in the lightning round, talking about Trevor McCarthy, one of our former leading Mid-Atlantic riders, was riding up in New York, has done terrifically well up there, picking up a grade 2 win amongst many a victory, and now moving his tack to California.
There you go. California, he's coming your way. Look for a 100% Trevor ride all the way to the finish every time, California fans. Memorial Day weekend, agent Derek Lawson has picked him up. Former agent for Flavian Pratt was searching for a rider. Talked to Trevor, and there you go. He's going to be off in a few weeks to Southern Cal.
Very tactical and strong rider. Dearly missed here on the Mid-Atlantic circuit, but we of course wish him the best on the West Coast. As that will do it for us, Dave. It was such a pleasure having you on this morning.
Oh, yeah, it was great being on this morning, Naomi, and hope we get some winners today. And I think your ticket for $64 is one you have to play in the Rainbow Pick Six. Because if you're going to take down that pool today, you'll be loaded for Preakness Week, and you'll have yourself a really good time for our big races coming up. Black-Eyed Susan Day Friday, Preakness Day on Saturday. Of course, we run Thursday as well.
That's the goal, Dave. That's the goal. I'm coming in loaded for our beautiful Preakness weekend coming up next week. Thank you so much. And I'm assuming you'll be on again next with Scratches and Changes?
Right. Scratches and Changes coming up momentarily.